Cyberpunk 2077 is in the news cycle once again as CD Projekt Red has officially revealed a new graphical update coming to the game. But that is not all, as the developer recently opened up about lessons that CDPR learned after the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, and how's it going by the way? Mr. Holton here. Now, what is this about a new graphical update for Cyberpunk 2077? Well, during their visit to the GDC, or Game Developers Conference this week, CDPR officially revealed that they're finally introducing path tracing into Cyberpunk 2077. And before you ask, path tracing is in essence the big brother to ray tracing, which is the current technology that Cyberpunk has access to. Ray tracing being a technique in 3D graphics that allows for the simulation of realistic lighting. Path tracing, or full ray tracing, is used to create film and TV graphics, such as high-quality CGI in movies. Now, what makes this possible is the NVIDIA DLSS 3 function in combination with the new RTX 40 series of graphics cards. Yes, you heard that right. If you have a card in the RTX 40 series, or if you're about to buy one, you're in luck. But if you don't, like me, then you will unfortunately not be able to run path tracing or full ray tracing in Cyberpunk 2077. And if you're wondering what path tracing could look like in Cyberpunk 2077, well, there's no footage of it yet, but here are some examples of what path tracing does over on NVIDIA's own article, which explains what it is, and here are even some pictures that shows a comparison between regular ray tracing and path tracing. And if you're interested in trying this out, path tracing will be available on the 11th of April for all RTX Series 40 cards. Now, while this is indeed interesting, I do think this next part is more exciting. Well, at least to me personally. You see, the lead level designer for Cyberpunk 2077, Miles Tost, recently opened up on the GDC panel called What Cyberpunk 2077 Taught Us About Non-Linear Level Design. Miles mentioned during the panel that he was tasked with creating levels that supported every style of play, from brute force to stealth to everything else in between, all in a huge open world. And well, that is what we got. Sort of. You see, one of the biggest pet peeves of mine and many others that played Cyberpunk was that a lot of the level design sometimes felt redundant. What I mean specifically here is the fact that a lot of the time, despite CDPR providing different routes that you can go when making your way through a level, most of the time you just take the simplest route to your objective, because whenever you take an alternate route, the end result is still the same no matter what, making the entire point of having alternate paths feel moot. The reason for this choice in level design was because, quote, "We pride ourselves on being storytellers, and we didn't want to stop a player's lack of foresight from enjoying the narrative." And I mean, well, that's a pretty good justification, I guess. But it did make some of the level design pretty unimpactful in Cyberpunk, since it doesn't really matter what path you take through your missions. Now, what's cool here is that Tost mentions that the devs at CDPR will take inspiration from games like Dishonored 1 and 2 to remedy this, and he continued by saying, and I quote, "We need to treat paths as special. This is what creates value in the choices players make." And the article continues with describing Tost talking about making each path feel like its own unique thing. To sum it up nicely, he's basically saying, it's all about the journey, not the destination. And let's face it, the fact that Dishonored 1 and 2 was mentioned as inspiration for the future just points to some really good news for the next game, considering just how open-ended the map design was for those games. Anyway, that's all we got for today. Remember to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Mr. Olton, signing out.